Welcome everyone, it's Honest RPG here, and in this video I will share my thoughts on my biggest concern related to Blue Protocol. Many players have different concerns related to Blue Protocol. Some worry about the combat or story or endgame content. In my case, my biggest concern is side quest.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
During the network test, many players noticed that leveling up is very slow. This became a problem as players were forced to do multiple side quests or dungeons. Now don't get me wrong. I am not saying that side quests are wrong, but the way they are handled, that is wrong. A good side quest will always stay memorable, but a bad side quest will ruin the experience, especially when it's required to do side quests to level up as the main story and monster extermination doesn't provide sufficient experience points.
Are you serious?
And worse is when the quests are simply fetching 30x things or kill 50y monsters. It's like a chore that you are not interested, but you are forced to do it. Not all quests were bad, but many of them were similar with no variety, making them very bland side quests. And at the same time, if we improve the leveling up system, then side quests are simply used for leveling up alt characters for endgame, but as I said, the main problem is not fixed. Bland side quests are still a chore. So let's ask a question: what is a side quest and a good side quest? A side quest is a small quest that has very little to no impact on the main story. What I mean is that side quests are optional content that players can decide to take when they want a break from main story. They can come in many ways, from fetch quest to monster extermination to delivery quest. There can be some other formats, but most of the side quest follows this format. And at the end of the quest, it provides some kind of reward. Now, what makes a good side quest? In my opinion, you might disagree, and it's okay because that's how we can have a discussion. But a good side quest is a quest which provides a reason for accepting it. The quest needs to be engaging and immersive, and it should provide a reasonable reward. When I say it should have a reason for accepting, then what I mean is that it should provide a reasonable reward and experience without interrupting or spoiling the main quest.
Oh my.
For example, during the main quest you met a well-written side character and you want to know more about him. That can be a reason for accepting a side quest. It can provide a backstory for that character. Another example would be a mini-boss fight. Mini-boss fights can provide a challenge, and it can be a good way to know if the player wants to test his or her skills. After providing a reason for accepting, the next thing that needs to be considered is the player's experience. The quest needs to be engaging and immersive. You need to provide an experience equal to or close to what you promised when the player accepted the quest. Otherwise, it's just a clickbait and can easily lead to ruining the player's experience.
How did they think that was okay to even put it in the game?
But what is an engaging and immersive side quest? Side quest doesn't need to follow a specific style. It can be of basic format or basic format with some variety or an entirely new format. You can provide extra lore of the game or a challenging but reasonable boss fight and many more. The best way is to provide exposition through a short story. But don't just haphazardly write a story. It needs to be entertaining. The dialogues need to be engaging. They can be also funny, but in the end, the goal is to make them memorable. If you provide lore or backstory, don't just put everything in front of the player. Let the player explore while doing the side quest. If you provide fetch or delivery or monster extermination quests, then the story format follows the same style I mentioned earlier. But instead of killing 200 enemies, 5 enemies are okay. But make them reasonably challenging. The players need to feel the satisfaction when they defeat enemies after understanding the enemy pattern and mastering their skill. And after all this effort, you need to provide the player some reasonably good reward. Generally, experience points and some resources are provided. But at the same time, depending on the difficulty or due to some other factors, you can provide unique weapons or emotes or mounts or clothing. If you provide unique weapons or mounts, give it some additional perks which makes them a little different from standard weapons.
Nice.
It doesn't have to be a stat boost. If it looks cool or if it provides a small buff to the player or small debuff to the enemy, then that can also work. But don't make it game-breaking or overpowered. Side quest rewards are meant to provide satisfaction after taking a break from main story and not to break the main story. If these 3 things can be mastered, then it is possible to provide a good side quest experience. I know that side quests are simply one part of massively multiplayer online RPGs, but the focus in many games is that they are extra quests that are added for the sake of content. Whether players like it or not, it doesn't matter. And that is the problem. People are running towards the endgame content because they know that that's where the real content is. Challenging raids and dungeons. They know that many side quests are the boring parts of the game, and it needs to be skipped to get to the best part. And it's sad because players, or if you want to say adventurers, want to go on an adventure and interact with the world, and side quests are one of the ways to interact, but it's a wasted potential that has the possibility to increase playtime and popularity if it was done correctly. I truly wish that not just Blue Protocol, but other MMORPGs would also look at this problem and provide a new kind of experience. So, thank you for watching today's video, and if you want to know more about Blue Protocol or want to have a closer look, then here is the playlist. Okay, then see you next time.